Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Dr. Aggrey. I teach political science, University of Ghana. I have designed this course, Poli 111, Introduction to the Study of Political Science. This course is very important because it gives you the foundation to the whole study of political science. And so if you have observed in your course materials, we have indicated that you are going to deal with 13 sessions. And I believe that by now you have covered most of them. We're looking at the scope of politics. Politics is ubiquitous, and therefore I'm expecting that since politics is our baby, you will appreciate what politics is all about. You know that whether we like it or not, we are all affected by the study of politics. Whether you're in school or in church or whatever, we still have politics all over. And therefore, if you decided to be in political science, it's a noble activity. The politics actually deals with who gets what, when, and how, and who pays. And so we must encourage all to participate. So whether you like it or not, there will be an issue. In the exams, I will definitely ask you to explain what politics is and so on, the various notions. We have also introduced you to the basic concept in political science. These concepts are very relevant because they will run through all the courses subsequently. So, concepts like power, authority, legitimacy, sovereignty have all been explained, thoroughly. And the idea is for you to really appreciate how these variables play themselves out. The talk of politics is about power, for instance. So that is why we say power is one of the most central concepts in political science. Now, apart from the basic concept, we have also introduced you to the real subject matter, which is the nature and scope of political science. And one of the critical issues we'll be dealing with, or you have dealt with within this particular session, will be, or is whether political science is a science, why we study political science, for instance, and whether you think that political science is a science. Two basic perspectives. So there are some who argue that political science is not a science, and there are some who argue that political science is a science because it takes us through the rigorous methodology that is used by the natural sciences. We go into another session which deals with contemporary forms of government. And basically here, we are interested in democracy, for instance. Democracy, with session 6, we'll deal with authoritarianism, totalitarianism. And then one of the most important issues in modern politics, political leadership. Because anytime there is a problem, people call on leadership to set up and deal with problems. And therefore, we felt that we must introduce you to the concept of political leadership and its ramifications. So you see that you have styles, you have various approaches and so on, and it is important that you actually imbibe these virtues effectively. We deal with political culture, very important. We have argued that if we want to develop as a country, we need to cultivate or we need to nurture the right political culture. Participant political culture, subject political culture, parochial political culture are the basic political cultures that we have. But we encourage you as you go through to know the utility of all these cultures, political cultures. We are very much interested in our attitude towards the object of politics. It doesn't really matter whether you support the president or not. What is important is what is our attitude towards the object of politics. And when you go through this, you would appreciate that we need to imbibe what we call participant political culture so we can develop the state. We also have introduced you in session 9 on what we call political socialization. Every group of people ought to be socialized. The idea is that we want people to behave in a right manner, in a right order within the state. Even, well-established homes, people are even trained how to eat, how to talk to elders and so on. It's part of socialization. So political socializing, what do? We'll go into all of these issues of public opinion, among others, have all been, will be discussed when we call it public opinion participation within the state. One basic virtue of a democracy is participation. I mean, if all of us decide not to vote, or if even for 1 hour all Ghanaians decide not to abide by even traffic regulations, there will be chaos in the state. And so public opinion, participation, and the relationships have all been established in session 11, and I believe that you go through them religiously. Then elections, one of the most important vexed issues in a democracy. You know, we can have undemocratic elections, but there's no way we can have a democracy without elections. And so at this level, very early in your study of political science, we've decided that we introduce you to elections and participation in Africa. Elections are critical because one of the most important forms of participation, you know, in any democracy. Elections really ensure that we are able to change leaders from time to time. It ensures that we nurture our leaders from time to time. It ensures that we get representatives from time to time. It ensures that we are able to go through some of the rights, political rights, freedom of association, freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, and so on. So when people really vote, it is one of the most important express demonstrations of commitment and participation in the politics of the state. And then we'll end it all by introducing you, or we have introduced you to ideologies, various ideologies within the state. We have introduced you to capitalism, we've introduced you to socialism, among others. The idea is for you to also understand these perspectives as they exist within the body politic of the country. It is critical that in the readings, you read yourselves into the text, because you are going to be affected somehow along the line as you go through political science by your understanding, firm understanding of the introduction to the study of political science. And you agree with me that when you have applied yourself diligently to this particular model, this particular course, you would have built a very solid foundation that will give you a sound basis for a good performance, as it were, you know, in political science generally. And so don't think that it's just a basic introductory course. Most of the issues as you move up, you will refer to them, you know, subsequently. So please take note of that. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I want to highlight some of the specific areas that I will be interested in the exams. First and foremost, you must be interested, or I'm interested in what I call the notion of politics. That is critical. Politics is what we go to town with. So we'll be interested in politics, what it is and so on, the notions and so on. We'll also be interested in the subject matter, which is political science, why political science is a science and why we study it, for instance. We are also going to be interested in the concept, the basic concept of politics. Power, authority, legitimacy, sovereignty, 4 of them. Not all of them will come, but some of them, most of these will feature prominently. We will also be interested in political leadership, because it is something people don't want to talk about, but we think that if we will develop as a country, we need to be able to nurture critical leadership for this state. So we will feature leadership. We'll also be interested in elections, basically, and then we'll also deal with ideologies. So basically, you are going to have 6 essay questions, out of which you are going to answer or attempt 3. Nobody should tell me that he cannot attempt any, because I know you have gone through the models, you know, religiously. Thank you very much.